Hi everyone, my name is Jack Reynolds and I'll be helping to moderate today's webinar. Today we'll be sharing tips for using Xtime reporting features to empower your team and elevate the service experience at your dealership. We are lucky enough to have Joseph Rehling, Senior Performance Manager at Xtime, with us today to walk through it. A few housekeeping items before we get started. All attendees have been muted, but if you do have questions throughout the session, please put them in the GoTo console on the right-hand side of your screen. At the end of the presentation, we'll take around 10 minutes to go through what you've submitted. Additionally, a recording will be sent to everybody after we conclude. Joseph, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome everybody. My name is Joseph Rehling. I'm a Senior Xtime Performance Manager. Really excited to be speaking to you guys today about coaching behaviors and improving your results utilizing the Xtime reporting tools. So something that obviously sounds a little bit dry, but I promise you're going to have some great takeaways by the end of this. We're going to look at some different processes that you can implement inside of your dealership, how to look at reporting to see if those processes are being utilized by your staff, and with the end result of trying to improve your results. So let's get into it, shall we? All right, so we're going to start off today by talking about the appointment process. We're going to move from there into your check-in process, where you write up the car, how you present your menus, do you do a walk around or not. From there, we're going to move forward into the inspection process, some helpful tools to tell you whether your staff is doing what they're supposed to be doing or not. Approving and declining the work, making sure that everything's presented and we get the customers the information they need. And then we're going to kind of tie it all back together at the end with our after service, decline service marketing. So kind of want you thinking about the process inside your store. You know, we all walk through our store every single day. Sometimes we see that dust, that dirt in the corner. Gosh, we'd like to get that cleaned up, you know, get our shop looking pretty. But eventually, you know, we walk past it so many times, we don't think about it. That dirt's still there. And, you know, even though we've noticed it before, it just becomes part of the background in our store. It becomes something that we're used to seeing. But I guarantee your customers see that dust in the corner and they expect you to clean it up. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we can kind of clean those cobwebs out of the corner and improve our processes so we can improve those results. We all look at the bottom line. We all look at our results at the end of the month, our dollars per RO or our hours per RO. But what helps us get there? What drives us to those metrics that we want to see at the end of the day? So we're going to start with the appointment taking process. Pretty basic, I know. You know, you take a phone call from the customer, you ask them what they need, when they want to come in, you book the appointment. But we all know there's a lot more to it. We've got to prepare the customer for the visit. And a big part of preparing the customer for that service visit is going to be capturing the right information up front so our service advisors have the information they need to contact our customer, give them that digital experience that they have come to expect nowadays from our service departments. Now, how do we tell whether we're capturing the right information or not? And how do we coach our staff to make sure that they are actually doing what we expect them to do? Well, I'm going to show you a way we can combine two reports within the Xtime schedule software, the email and phone statistics dashboard, along with the appointment confirmation summary, to tell who's doing what we've asked them to do and who's not. So when we're looking at the email and phone statistics dashboard, the first part of it's going to be our email and phone capture by GEO, which is going to give you your overall email and mobile phone penetration for your store during whatever time period we run that for. And I want you to look real closely here. These are two stores. They're both on Xtime. Little different size, but same idea. We've got one that's 20% overall email penetration for almost a 3-month period. And then we've got 81% on the other side for email penetration. You know, think about that for a minute. Your appointment takers are your first line of defense in getting that information. How many of you on the call have been in a situation where, you know, you're at the end of the month, CSI is good, not great. You're kind of on that bubble. One survey could push you over the edge of being good. One survey could push you over the edge of being bad. Well, one way to ensure that we're getting all that good surveys back is to make sure that we've got our customers' information, we've got valid email addresses, valid phone numbers. So when that information goes out, we're hitting the maximum number of customers out there. Despite that, we also communicate with our customers in a digital manner nowadays. We text them, we email them. We need to have the valid information up front so we're not stalled out, spinning our wheels down the road when we actually get to the point where we need to sell them something. So how do you tell who's getting the right information right on the front side and who's not? So we're going to move over to the email capture by individual tab inside of that report, run that for your date range, and we're going to export that out to an Excel document. We're also going to run the appointment confirmation summary report for that same time period. That way we can get all of our appointment takers metrics in terms of how many appointments they created. And then we'll use a simple formula, emails captured plus emails updated, divided by the number of appointments they create. And that's going to give you what percentage of customers' information we've either captured or updated at the time of making the appointment. And this is all going to tie back together towards the end. So once we've done that, once we've exported it, what does that look like? How do we create that report? So we'll add a column for our appointments created. We'll add a couple columns for the percentage of the emails updated, the number of phone numbers updated. And then all we have to do is put in the calculation and let the computer do the math for us. And I challenge you all to do this in your store. And if you need help, get with your Xtime Performance Manager. That's what they're there for. They'll help you create this report. But I think you'll all be shocked, and I'm normally shocked when I find this too. 9 times out of 10, the unknown appointment taker full name, that's your customer scheduling their own appointment online. I venture to guess they probably give up the information more than our call center agents and our service advisors are actually capturing when they're taking appointments. It might be shocking to you. But think about this. This is a behavior we can coach. We can make our team better. Ask for the email address. Ask for the mobile phone number. Make sure you have that good information right up front so when they come in, we are fully prepared to engage with the customer in a digital manner the way they want to do business with us. So we've taken the appointment. The customer shows up in our drive. Now it's time to check them in. So think about this. Do you have a check-in process? Do you do a walk around? Do you present a menu on a tablet, on a piece of paper? How do you show the customer what their vehicles do for? And do you give them options? Do you have a good, better, or best menu? Can you actually upsell in the drive? And do your advisors know how to do it? And are they comfortable doing it? Do you take pictures, videos of the vehicle? Protect yourselves from damage claims. You know, one of those things that at the end of the month, the last thing you want to do is have to write off damage to policy. So remember earlier we were talking about email and phone capture. Well, part of the check-in process with Xtime Engage, we have a second bat at it. If the call center agent, if our service advisor just didn't get that information up front, we've got a second chance when we're doing our check-in on Engage. Verify the customer's information with the customer. Make sure they're opted in for emails, text messages. Again, very important for what we get to later in this presentation when we start talking about sending that stuff digitally to the customer. Make sure everything looks good. Get them opted in. This is also another great place for you if you're using text marketing to get that customer engaged with the text marketing platform so they can self-opt in for it. So what do we get by doing this, right? What are our results when we verify information, we present a menu, we do a walk around, and we spend some time with our customer? Now, I want you all to just take a couple minutes here. Look at these two slides. These are two different stores, similar volume, similar utilization of the check-in tablet, 84, 87%. But just take a minute and look at the results from the left side to the right side. Which store would you rather be? So on the left, we've got $5.56 average check-in dollars. We're 84% utilization, and we're spending anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes with our customer in the drive. Is that really enough time to present a menu, get to know our customer, build some rapport, and do a walk around? Or would you rather be the store on the right where at a minimum they're 3 minutes, but most are over 4, if not 5 minutes, checking in their customers? Not to mention they're presenting a menu. They're selling the menu. And if they don't, they're back selling and getting into a la carte services. We're not going to get the menu every single time, but if we present it, we at least have a chance. If we don't tell the customer about the options, if we don't present the menu to them, try to sell those mileage-based services, we might as well just go back to using a clipboard and checking them in that way. So great. We've got them checked in. We've upsold them a menu. Now we're getting ready to put the car in the shop and we're going to do our inspection, present our work to the customer. So the next step is in the technician's hands. So we throw it into inspect. We find out, okay, the customer's here for a grinding noise from their car. Is that an ASR or is that associated to what the customer came in for? So what I'm showing you here is an inspect page, and this is how the technician actually attaches their upsells to the customer's initial concerns. A lot of technicians don't know, and a lot of service advisors don't know that we can drag those services up and attach them to what they came in for. Because at the end of the day, if we have 4, 5, 6 services in additional service recommendations, the customer came in for a brake job. If we don't associate those repairs to what they came in for, how does a customer know? Are we addressing their concern? Which one of these items is going to fix the problem I brought my car in for? So we want to make sure that the customer understands exactly what fixes the problem they came in for. So how do we tell? How do we tell whether our technicians are doing this or not? This is one of those things you can find by running your technician RO ASR report. So in this example here, we've got our technician, Wesley. Main shop technician, he's worked on about 25 cars so far this month. He's found recommendations on at least 11 of them. We've made 16 different recommendations total. Looks pretty good on paper, but is he really finding those extra things? Is he finding that maintenance that the car is due for? Those leaks, the incidental things that you find on inspection that's a true ASR, additional service recommendation? Or are we just not associating those services to what the customer came in for, so we look good on paper? A transmission range selector, customer doesn't, it's not something that a technician is just going to find when they're looking over a car. ABS wheel speed sensor, probably not just going to find that when you're checking over a car. Same with an alternator. They don't come in with a bad alternator not asking you to look at something. Those aren't really ASRs. Those are associated with what the customer came in for. So if we want to give good customer service and make sure they're aware that this is what's going to fix their problem, we need to drag those ASRs up and associate them with what the car came in for, so that we're giving the customer the experience they want, but then we can hold our technicians accountable if they're really finding extra work, which is what we're trying to do at the end of the day. If all we do is diagnose a check engine light, replace an oxygen sensor, and don't look over the vehicle, we're not really making the most out of every visit that's coming through the door, are we? So again, this is something that if you need help, get with your performance manager. They'll help you dig into the technician RO ASR report, find these little things. If you're comfortable running this report yourself, go ahead and run it. Once you get it exported out into a web page, you can click on the blue number in the lines column, And you're going to get the second report on screen here on the bottom that shows you what their actual ASRs were and whether they were approved or not. Now, kind of keep this report in mind because we're going to switch it up in a second. And we're going to talk about the same thing, but we're going to talk about our advisors. So before we get to that, we also got to talk about our efficiency. Good behaviors means everyone inside the store is working together in lockstep. We have a solid process. Technician inspects the car, makes the recommendations. We send that into parts to get our P&A process. Parts is going to send that forward to the advisor. Now, time for our advisor to work their magic, get that digital quote out to the customer, and get the approval, get the yes or no. This is where you can use your time and mode reports to break down that process. So I want you to think about this. Again, good example, bad example on screen. How long should it take parts realistically to get you the P&A request? Do we have the part in stock? How much is it? And then once we actually get that information from parts, is our advisor getting to that estimate in a quick enough manner where we actually have a chance at upselling the customer? Think about it from the customer's eyes. You're in for an oil change. It's 45 minutes past the time you were checked in and you're expected to be there for an hour. If I come up to you and try to sell you 10 different things at that point in time, when I see you come through the door, the first thing I'm thinking is, oh, great, my car's done early. Now the wah-wah noise comes in the background and you get to tell them all the bad news of the stuff they need. Well, I really don't have time today. We'll have to do it next time I'm in. So are your advisors responding fast enough? Is your parts department responding fast enough? Is the technician doing an inspection in a timely manner? The time and mode report is going to peel back the layers and tell you, advisor by advisor, technician by technician, whether they're doing this or not. But, Joe, that doesn't help me. That means that we're already past it, right? Well, good news is Xtime has you covered there too. We can proactively monitor this stuff. Your managers in the store can proactively monitor the time and modes. And we do that with the Xtime Inspect notifications. Each user is responsible for going into their own account, setting up their notifications. They can get an email, a text message, a browser pop-up window. If it's an advisor or a technician, they can even get a notification pushed to their mobile device if they're using the Xtime mobile app. So now we can monitor how long does it take waiting in parts? How long before our parts counter person clicks on that estimate, sees what the technician's recommended, and gets the P&A request down. And then once that's done and we've sent it to the advisor, how long on average does it take the advisor to look at it? If it's more than 5 minutes, we're behind the 8 ball. That ship may have sailed already and we might not have a chance to upsell. So make sure that you, if you're a manager or if you're a general manager, you have some notifications set up to get yourself some insight into what your people are doing and whether they're efficient or not in this process. Actively monitor your process and then go ahead and coach those people that are defecting or not doing what you want to do so that we can get the results we want at the end, which is selling more work, keeping our technicians busy, keeping them in their bays. I don't think anyone on the call in today's market doesn't want that. So now we've got that customer, we got the estimate. Are we sending that quote to the customer in a digital manner? Think about this, right? We check the customer in. Did we prepare that customer at write-up to say, I'm going to send you a digital update once I have your car inspected, good, bad, ugly, whatever it is, I'm going to send you a digital update. We're going to send a quote. We can send it all green. If for some reason it's all green, we didn't find anything, great, Mr. Customer, you don't need anything today. We'll see you on your next visit. But we prepared the customer to receive it digitally. We need to own up to that and make sure we're doing it. And think about this. You're a customer, or you're working, middle of your day, maybe in a meeting, maybe watching a webinar. Can you pick up the phone necessarily, answer a phone call? Even further than that, say we've got 5 things. We're recommending 5 different things to the customer, couple $1,000s worth of work. Is your customer sitting there with a pen and a paper in their hand, ready to write down those 5 things you're telling them their car needs? No, they're not. But if we send them a digital quote, they've got it in black and white right there in front of them on their phone or in their email. Now take it a step further. The customer now is empowered to respond back to us. They can give us a yes or no right from their device and tell us what they want done. And if they've got questions, they've got the option to call us, and the advisor obviously has the option to call them. But look at the store on the right. 41.8% of their customers reply back via the text message tool. Nobody has to pick up a phone. Nobody has to talk to anyone. And I'm sure any of you with younger kids, you can't even get them on the phone to talk to you anyway. It's only going to be a text message. Customers don't really want to talk on the phone anymore. Send them the information the way they want to receive it. And then think about that store on the right one more time. 150 customers responded back to that store. Nobody had to pick up the phone. You all know, if you worked in service for a while, it's not just one phone call. You pick up the phone, you dial, you get the voicemail, you leave them a voice message, go back with your day, you get on to what you're doing. Customer calls back and you're tied up with another guest. Now they're leaving you a voicemail and you're calling them back. You're just in that circle of chasing. And now it's 4 o'clock and you can't get the work done today. Wouldn't it have been better to set up the customer for that digital quote, send them the digital quote, and get the response faster? Now we don't have the technician wandering around the dealership with a car half torn apart in their bay, waiting for a response, grabbing a coffee, going over to his partner's bay, sitting there wasting time. They're not productive. They're just lost and waiting for somebody to give them an answer. Well, we can coach that behavior. We can make sure that we get a digital estimate out to the customer, ensure a faster response. What does that look like if you're a customer? Well, they're going to get a text message. They can click on it. They can give them the approval, yes or no, right there from their phone. And if you've got the media portion, we can also send them a picture or a video. And think about this too. Like, turnover's high. We've got a lot of advisors coming and going out of the dealership. Maybe some of your staff is green. Do you think the technician can explain maybe what's wrong with the car in a little better way than the advisor in some cases? So maybe we send that video the technician took, explain what's wrong with the car, send that to the customer and let the technician sell it so our advisor doesn't have to. So the quote is the only way we can present that media. And if we didn't prepare the customer to receive a digital quote, they might not even look at it if we send it. Think about it. You get a text message from some random phone number with a link in there asking you to spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. How apt are you to actually click that button and give them a yes or no if nobody told you it was coming? Not to mention that, but we're going to get a faster response. If you look at the slide or the picture on the left there, we sent the quote at 10:10 a.m. They viewed it at 10:34 a.m., 10:38 a.m., again at 11:34. Customers viewed it multiple times in just a matter of a few minutes. We're going to get the response back from them. Everything's going to be dated, time-stamped. It was the customer. Can't think of a faster way to get that info and get a yes or a no. Now, something else too. How many times have you, if you're a service manager, dealt with the problem where that's not what the advisor told me over the phone? That's not the total he gave me. He didn't say it was that much. She didn't say it was that much. When it's all digital and everything's dated and timestamped, we know what was sent, and we know how much it was. So does the customer, and they've confirmed it. So if you're not sending digital updates to your customers, you may be missing out a little bit here. So great, we've sent the quote, we found the work. Now we're getting to the point where the advisor needs to give us a yes or no, or the customer's already given us a yes or no. But if we're not doing it digitally, we need to make sure that our advisors are marking all of our services either approved or declined. Now, how do you tell? How do you tell whether your advisors are actually going through and giving us the thumbs up or the thumbs down like they're supposed to? Well, remember earlier we were looking at the technician version of the ASR report. Now we're going to go to our advisor version of the ASR report. We're going to run that again in a web page. We're going to click on the lines requested next to our advisors. This is where we're going to be able to drill down and tell whether our advisors are quoting our customers and marking everything appropriately or not. So once you run that and you click on the lines, it's going to break open into a new web page, and you're going to be able to export that web page out to Excel. Once you've done that, apply some filters in Excel, filter down your approval column. We're looking for blanks. Blank means the advisor left that line undecided. We didn't get a yes or a no from the customer. Or maybe we did, but the advisor was too lazy to mark it. Drag down that column once you get it filtered. It'll give you the total at the bottom of your Excel page for the average, how many services they didn't mark up or down, and what might be shocking to you is how many dollars we left laying on the table. And remember earlier I was talking about email capture, phone number capture. Well, this is where it all ties back together. If we mark in a service decline inside of inspect, we've at least got a chance to come back and remarket it to that customer if we didn't get the sale at that point in time. But if the advisor doesn't mark it, we don't have a chance without pulling reports and making outbound calls, wasting time, wasting precious man hours to do that. So is it worth your time to take a few minutes at the end of the week, at the end of the month, to find out which one of your advisors is doing what you've asked them to do and making sure that we mark all of our services approved or declined? Now we can coach that behavior as well. Now, earlier, again, we talked about email capture. Well, marketing, decline service marketing, once we're done with the service, once we've reached the end of our visit, this is how it all ties together. It's all driven off of having the right information. If we don't have an email on file, we can't send out an email to the customer. The only thing we can do is hopefully make a phone call if you have time to do that. Why not let the system work for you? Now, again, we've got two stores here, just to draw the comparison. Store on the right has a great email capture. The store on the left, we're only able to market to about 31% of our customers. So to kind of tie it all back together, if you're not getting the right information on the front side, you've got no chance on the back side to try to get that work back in. When you're looking at your performance dashboard inside of the marketing piece, the thing you want to look out for is the nulls. Null means we don't have an email on file for the customer, and then you're bouncing on deliverables. More than likely, that's your no email at noemail.com, your none at gmail.com, na at yourstorename.com. So that's when the advisors decide that rather than capture a valid email address or check the box that the customer doesn't want to provide it, they just put in a fake one so their numbers look better. Now, to take this a step further, this is where you can get with your Xtime Performance Manager. If you have to, you can export that audience right out of the marketing piece. You can put that in an Excel file once again, And you can tell which customers you don't have emails for. You can tell which customers you got bad emails, usually just by looking at them. So if you're like the store on the left, I would encourage you to get with your PM, performance manager, excuse me, get that audience, take a look at some of the data and find out where we're missing pieces and do we have the bandwidth to actually make calls and try to capture that information, get those customers back in the store, and actually get that work back. So hopefully you've all got a few good takeaways from this about collecting the right information, doing a quality check-in, making sure we get all the information verified, we try to upsell the customer at the car, and we protect ourselves from those costly damage claims. Inspect what you expect out of your technicians. Make sure they're doing a quality inspection, they're actually finding additional service recommendations, and not just being order takers and only addressing what the customer came in for. Audit your service advisors, make sure they're getting that information, whether the work's approved or declined in the system, so we've got a chance to get that service back if we didn't sell it the first time around. So hopefully you all understand now how good behaviors and bad behaviors really affect the whole process, and at the end of the day, your bottom line. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you've gotten a lot of good information out of this. Any questions?
Thanks, Joe. Just as a reminder, in case you joined late, if you do have questions, you can enter them in the GoToWebinar console window on the right-hand side of your screen. Joe, we have had a few come in already, so I can start feeding those your way.
All right.
First one here. How would I correct a high bounced / undeliverable rate for marketing?
Okay. So to correct a high bounced undeliverable rate for marketing, one, look at some of those reports to see what your appointment takers are doing first and foremost, so you can address it proactively rather than reactively. However, at this case, if you do have that high bounced undeliverable, that's where we want to go into the marketing piece, export the audience. And what I would do is if I had a BDC or I had some service advisors that had some time on their hands, put that out into an Excel file and look through it. They're going to have blank emails. We're going to have the none at gmail.com and the na@na.com. So look for those items inside of there and call out and get that customer's information. Throw it next time so you have it next time they're in, and you've got a chance at at getting a hold of them.
All right, thank you. Next one here. What's a good cadence for reviewing these reports?
Well, that's something where I would say you want to be with the email and phone capture. I would probably be looking that on a month-by-month basis. That way you get a broad swath and you know exactly who's doing what. You can get more granular with it, do it week by week if you have a real problem. But in a store that has a decent process and a good capture rate for emails, I would be looking at that stuff maybe on a monthly basis with the BDC manager if you have one, or the service manager. When we're talking about the ASR process and advisors approving declining work, sending digital quotes, I think that should be a daily, if not weekly thing. It takes 30 seconds to run the report, run it for the day before, see what your people are doing. I'd rather know on Tuesday if my advisors didn't thumbs up or thumbs down everything on Monday than 2 weeks later.
All right. Are the advisors / call center agents forced to capture an email address and mobile number, or is that optional?
Well, they do have to either enter an email address or check a box saying the customer does not have email. So you can't move past that step in the appointment process without doing one or the other. So they do have a way to mark no, the customer doesn't have an email, but they are prompted to capture one if there's not one on file. The mobile phone number, again, that's something that is optional. However, that's something that in our settings, in the configure portal for the Engage tablet, you can require some of that information. Again, there's a way that they can bypass the email portion of it, but if you're requiring a mobile phone number, they'll have to enter something there.
All right. What are some signs of technicians not associating ASRs with primary concerns?
Good question. So when you're looking at that technician RO ASR report, if you have a technician that has an extremely high ASR percentage and also has an extremely high closing percentage, chances are we're not associating work. If they are, that's great. That's a good technician. We want to see that. But chances are if you're closing at 60, 70, 80% and your ASR rate is sky high, they're not associating the work that they came in for with the concern.
All right, thanks. Looks like this is the last one here. So Joe says, looks like a lot of our time in mode issue is sitting in dispatch. What are process improvements that can be made to remedy this?
Well, waiting in dispatch, I guess the question is do you have a dispatcher? And how quickly can you get the work out? If you have a high in dispatch time, that could be a sign that the technicians are waiting until they've already inspected the car before they start even filling out the inspection. The process should go is you hand that technician the RO, they go and they view the history, and that immediately moves it out of dispatch into inspection mode. And say you're handing out 5 ROs to a technician right away in the morning, you got your powerhouse guy, I would have them move them all out of dispatch right away so they move into the inspection mode as soon as he starts working on it, or she. So as soon as the work begins, it's no longer in dispatch, it's in inspection mode. So that would be the best way to try to drive that time down. Now, if you've got cars that you write up on a Saturday, they hang out over till a Monday, that is going to increase your dispatch time in mode. So be aware of that. It's almost sometimes good to look at those reports on a day-by-day basis so you can get really granular technician by technician and see where maybe there's a problem or a struggle or a gap there.
All right. Looks like we don't have any more questions coming in, so we can go ahead and wrap up today's webinar. Joseph, thanks for an informative session. I certainly hope everybody else found today helpful. As always, we appreciate your attendance and encourage you to reach out to our team if you do have additional questions. Joseph, any closing thoughts?
Thank you all so much for your time. Really hope you got some good takeaways today, and you can put some of these best practices in your dealership and help improve your results.
All right. Thank you, everyone.